26, 2014. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Armstrong?
Here.
Ms. Caparelli?
Here.
Mrs. Charlton? Mrs. Hancock?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mrs. Notbush?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is public comment. Are there any members of the community?
Thank you. I'll be brief. My name is Dan Charleston. I just wanted to note before your meeting, congratulations on your operating surplus last year. Near as I could tell, it was somewhere in the $1.3 million range. That's 4 years in a row now where the district has had remarkable advancements in accumulated operating balances to the tune of $7 million of new operating balances over that 4-year period. Excuse me. Decided that standing up here is hard. But that $1.3 million surplus is a $1.7 million variance against your budget. And candidly, your reports basically say more revenues and less expenses, and it's not a terribly compelling explanation. It would be nice to understand why at some point. Which leads to my next point. The $26 million bond ref question for the November ballot. 26 million, excuse me, 26 million is the estimated amount of all of your projects remaining, all of them. Based on previous estimates, it's going to amount to $300 to $400 a year per household, more for the 30% of your tax base that is commercial. You've also stripped out the TIF district, so that additional levy is not going to go against the TIF properties, at least to the best of my knowledge. I'll plead some ignorance there. But having said that, the impact is fairly large, and I think you've assumed that based on the defeat of the last referendum, that the voters' primary objection to the last ref question was its structure, the B&I levy. I don't think you've considered that the amount of the tax increase may have mattered. I don't think you've considered the idea that the fact that you took 60 to 75 days to talk about it with the community mattered. It wasn't enough. I don't think you've thought about the fact that you didn't really engage the community. It was district personnel who made those presentations. So I'm confused about why we're effectively doing the same stuff this time around. No effort, by the way, with respect to that $7 million of built-up surplus. That $7 million, portion of that, could clearly be used to fund some of these projects. 3 summers from now, there's a 2007 non-ref bond issue that's going to be paid off. You're going to have new bonding capacity in 3 years, $5 to $10 million worth. That money is meaningful in terms of funding capital projects. And if you had thought about what's 26 million minus, call it 10, it mitigates the taxpayer impact. To me personally, it's a difference between a $600 a year hit and a $350 or a $400 a year hit. And it demonstrates real concern for taxpayers' obligations. 70 days isn't enough, by the way, to educate the community. And no community press is also pretty tough. So I'm not here per se to say that the ref itself or the projects are bad. I'm not here to say that. I'm here to say that if you actually want to win a referendum, it takes longer than 75 days, and you have to demonstrate that you actually care about the taxpayer's burden. Enough to mitigate it, enough to talk about it, and enough to engage. So I hope you do that. After this one, will likely fail. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments this evening? Okay, next item is introduction of new staff.
This evening, we'd like to introduce to the board and to our community some of our new staff that we've employed for this upcoming school year. And first, I'd like to introduce Nadine Norris. And Nadine is our Director of Technology, Teaching and Learning, and is started with us July 1, and we're very excited to have Nadine here. And she's already made a positive impact in our district, so we appreciate that. And then I'll ask Kim if you want to introduce the new office person for the business office.
Yes, I'd like to have Christine Vent stand and welcome her. She is in charge of our accounts payable for the district and has been doing an outstanding job for the few weeks that she's been in the position. Welcome, Christine.
And then we'll have each of our administrators introduce the new staff that are in their building or in their area. And first, I'll have Linda Clawwitter.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Renee Youngman. Renee is providing paraprofessional support in our First Start classroom, and we are so delighted to have Renee back with us. She did student teaching in our district last year and had a wonderful experience. We really benefited from Renee being with us, so we welcome her back. I'd also like to acknowledge Kathy Eckert, who has joined us as our certified school nurse, and she'll be serving students at South and Miller at Manning. Kathy wasn't able to make it this evening, but she wanted to extend her thanks for the position, and I'd like to tell you that she's certainly been an asset in the role in the short time that she's been here. So welcome, Kathy, as well, and Renee.
Thank you. And Kristen Kretzel, Manning Principal.
Hi, I have two new staff members this year. First, I have Jackie Holly, who joined the Manning family this year as a part-time ESL teacher. She lives in Downers Grove and has subbed in the district and was a paraprofessional at Miller last year. And I also have Andrew Workma, who this year is our is our half-day kindergarten teacher, and the second half of the day he works as a math interventionist in our building. Andrew graduated from Illinois Wesleyan in 2012, has subbed in our district, and was a paraprofessional in my building as well, so welcome.
And Edith Rivera, Principal for Miller.
New to the Miller family, we have Tracy Billy, who comes from District B3. She's already had teachers call her her savior, so she's doing a phenomenal job with that. She's really having a positive impact, bringing a lot of positivity to the Miller culture. And then we have Tina Russ, who was hired as a paraprofessional to support the 3rd and 4th grade classrooms, and she's also doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. John Jonak, Principal for Westmont Junior High.
So with us tonight is Carly Morales. She's our instructional coach. She comes from Bloomington, Illinois. Well, I guess she was kind of in Bloomington, Illinois for a while. She was originally from up here. So as instructional coach, she'll be working with our teachers and our gifted students throughout the school day. And she's fantastic and has already added quite a bit to our culture and to our climate. Next is Zach Troyer. He's our vocal music director. And so he's leading swing choir and choruses and doing another amazing job. He's originally from this area, but we had to go fishing down in Austin, Texas to bring him back up here. And so we're very happy that he's out there. And Debbie Dicker is our nurse at the junior high. Debbie's already added quite a bit. She's got a great sense of humor, positive attitude, has made a lot of just small but very positive changes, and has done a little bit of talking to our teams about the needs of our students. So it's very nice to have Debbie as well. Now with us tonight is our new part-time secretary, Sabrina Ryman, who's actually from the Westmont area. She's a great addition. Also, we have Megan Malloy, who used to be over at Miller and then was over at Manning, and now she's our 8th grade math teacher. So we are absolutely thrilled that she is with us. Thank you.
Jack Baldwin, Principal for Westmont High School.
Hi, everybody. Thanks again to the board, Kevin, for the support we had to hire great personnel again this year, so appreciate that very much. First, we have Anthony Videka, who comes to us with 4 years of full-time high school teaching experience, highly intelligent and student-centered, great interpersonal skills, amazing work ethic. At his last school, he was the head basketball and the head baseball coach, so we won't have that on his plate here. but he really is a great addition to our staff, Anthony. And then Maggie Wiles is our new social worker. She too comes, we had many candidates, and Maggie rose to the top, and she has experience out of Aurora in the high school setting with students. We were really blown away by her student-centeredness and her problem-solving ability, and so we're excited to have Maggie Wiles on board as our new social worker. Brett Erlob is our new choir director. He's also working at South a little bit. He had a commitment to the community that he does some church choir directing, so that he's with them tonight. But he's off to a strong start too, building up the numbers in that program and recruiting new students. So we're glad to have Brett with us also. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. And the administrative team did an excellent job in evaluating candidates and hiring staff, and really we're very excited to have all these people join us in our district, and we're confident they'll all do an excellent job for us.
Welcome.
And on behalf of the board, I certainly welcome all of you and looking forward to a continued good start to our school year. We're hearing a lot of good things about this year's beginning, so thank you all. We'll continue on with the meeting. If any of you would like to stay, you are certainly welcome. If you'd like to depart at this point,
Yeah, you really did.
we'll pause for just a moment while you
Look
do
away.
that, and then we'll continue on.
It won't reflect badly.
All right, we'll continue on. So I moved past accidentally the approval of minutes, so we will go backwards to that and take care of that item at this point.
They're all in the elevator. 201 Brain Trust all just got in the elevator together.
We're glad you're here.
Do we have all the minutes listed here?
Yeah, they're all listed there.
All right, very good. Okay, approval of minutes, May 13th, 2014. Any comments? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the first closed session of May 13th, 2014, regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the second closed session of the May 13th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. July 15th, 2014. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the July 15th regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain.
And I abstain. Motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the July 15th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I abstain.
I abstain.
Motion carries. August 12th, 2014. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
I-
opposed?
Sorry, I abstain. Mhm.
The motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the August 12th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All
I
opposed?
abstain.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Motion carries. Okay. The next item then is the consent agenda. Are there any questions, comments, any items that need to be pulled for individual consideration?
I just want to say that I'm glad to see the Springfield trips coming back.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations. 2, certification of hazardous crossing. 3, board authorization of vehicle use. 4, approval of student tours. 5, disposal of equipment. 6, approval of energy contracts. 7, approval of August 2014 expenditure report. And 8, ratification of July 2014 regular payroll. Can we have a roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes. Okay, the next agenda item are information and discussion items, and the first one is the presentation of the monthly financial statements.
Okay, in your packet, you have the financial statements. Hang on, and mine just went away. Okay. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, for the month of June, the district received almost $370,000 from the state during the month, and they released the first or the fourth quarter categorical payments in June. That's the first time since I've been here 4 years, and really as long as I can remember, that we received fourth quarter categorical payments on time. So as a result of that, we actually received 5 payments from the state during this fiscal year because we received a late payment from last year. So on the cash side, obviously we had received more cash than we have in the past. And then we also received our first 2 installments of the 2013 tax levy, and that was about $10.4 million, which was a 47.2% collection rate, which was comparable to last year and just slightly lower than prior years. So we range between 47.5% to 50% collection in June each year. Again, in the ed fund, we received fourth quarter categoricals, and then there's $13,000 the state's vouchered that's outstanding. In the O&M fund, revenues are slightly higher than the prior 2 years. One of the reasons we received more revenue, we have about 104% revenue collection. We applied for a school maintenance grant, which we received, which I think was around $45,000 for the roof projects. So we received that revenue in fiscal year 14. We'll be making the payments in fiscal year 15. We did the roofs this year. So we did not know about that grant when we did the budget, and we were fortunate enough to receive that revenue. In the transportation fund, again, revenues are about 6% higher than budget, and that is mainly attributable to receiving the payments on time. So again, that's good news for us, and but obviously the next year on a cash basis, revenues, if the state continues to pay, will be lower as a result. On the expenditure side, education fund, they're comparable to the prior year and lower than budget. And again, well, salary costs weren't as high as predicted. Benefits weren't as high, Everybody didn't spend all their supply and, consumable budgets. And then when we finish up, we're having the audit right now, so when we finish everything up and get everything, all the audited numbers, then we'll go in more detail about where some of the variances are. Operations and maintenance fund, again, expenditures are comparable to the prior 3-year average. And the O&M fund came in under budget despite our, unseasonably cold and snowy winter. The O&M fund is 92.8% spent to date. It was 84.8% spent to date last year. So we spent a little bit more money, but still came in under budget. And then expenditures in the transportation fund were higher than budget. They were 108% of budget. And again, that was mainly attributable to our special education transportation costs being higher. We had more students to transport. Now, on the upside of that, we will, when we do our transportation claim, we receive revenues for that year in the following year. So our transportation revenues will go up in FY15 to kind of offset some of that cost. And then investments are there for you, fund balances, and the activity accounts. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, the next discussion item is the swim club contract.
Okay, and I attached a draft of the swim club contract for you. We asked our attorneys to go back and, review that contract. I have shared it with Westmont Swim Club, and they don't have any real objections to it, but in conversations with Adam, we were looking at, when we talked about this before, more of a flat fee, and here's a set dollar amount. And in my discussions with Adam, he's come back and is looking at more of that hourly fee structure. And typically, when we've had the schedule we've had from September through the summer, and he's looking at only proposing hours right now from September through the end of March. And then kind of looking at things, kind of seeing where we're at with things for the summer and everything else. I've asked him for an analysis on our summer programs and have not received that yet, because that was one of the things we talked about, was really kind of looking at that, again, trying to build programs and things. So on that basis, last year, our revenue for the period September through June was $50,000. This year, right now, for the hours proposed through March, we're looking at somewhere between $31,000 and $35,000. And we also have another party interested in renting our pool facility, and we're still trying to see if we can coordinate some hours that they could swim that the Westmont Swim Club isn't. It's proving to be a little bit challenging because everyone wants prime hours. But so that revenue may change slightly. If we just based what our anticipated revenue would be, where we increase our rate by 5% annually, based on the number of hours that the Westmont Swim Club had utilized last year, we'd be looking at an hourly basis of about $52,500. So we're anywhere between $17,000 and $20,000 lower right now of a guaranteed revenue. Now, I don't have any indication that they would be doing something else in April through June, but so, there's a couple things. One is, does the district want to continue to do the hourly rate? Are we looking at a flat fee? Do we just go ahead, with an hourly rate for right now, knowing that everything will probably change next year anyway, after we see what happens with the referendum and the pool study, things like that. So, and then the other thing is, are we open to allowing them to maybe run some programs during the school day? And those are a couple of questions that we still had remaining. So thoughts.
You're talking about running programs for outside people to come into the building
Yeah, maybe
during the
like,
school
you
day?
know, yeah, like with the park
An
district.
adult swim
maybe.
club or a
Yep.
toddler swim
Mhm.
club or
Yep,
something
tot
like that.
swim. Mhm.
How many hours a week are they actually using the pool?
They typically run like Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And then Monday through Thursdays, they do like 3:30 to 8, or they might go 3:30 to 8 p.m. On a Friday, they're doing like 3.5 hours, like 3:30 to 7 p.m., and then 5 hours on Saturday. So,
And all this time, these are open programs that they're running for,
no, this is an open program.
This
This
is
is
what-
for
this
the
is what
swim club.
the swim club
What the
uses
swim
it
club
this amount.
utilizes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay.
Now, on that Saturday, they may run lessons for a couple hours during that time. They may actually look to extend it, but Adam was still trying to work on some programming. So they may come back and ask for some additional hours on Saturday.
that's a lot of hours that they're using the pool every week.
Do we know what's magical about March? I
I
mean,
do not know. It's kind of when I think when a program kind of ends and the next program begins for them.
for them.
Yes.
Okay.
Are they looking at, if we went hourly, would they be looking at paying for the hours that they use, or would they have a set number of hours that we could actually budget a dollar number on?
That's what he's given me, here's the numbers, I think, and that's the hours I was giving, like 5 to 6:30 a.m.
Okay. And Kim, you
3:30.
calculated out what that comes out to?
I did, that's, it's 865 hours right now, and depending if they add an extra hour, could be an additional 94 hours, so that's where it's between the 31,700 and 35,000 is what we're looking at. And that's from September 15th through March 22nd.
So what does that break down to per hour?
It's $36.69 an hour.
That's a nice deal.
Yeah.
Yes, it's extremely reasonable rent.
Yeah.
If they were to extend to what we originally thought the end date would be, does it end up being close to the $50,000 we were originally
It'd be,
discussing?
so if you took 50,000 and did about 5% more than that, so another, what, $2,500 or whatever.
Do you have any idea why this flipped
No, I do not.
from, because this is a completely different color than what we talked about when we talked about the pool, and I'm really unhappy about it. I mean, I don't want to be in the position where our hands are tied, but now we've laid off that staff. So we don't have, if we say, no, we don't want to do it, where does that leave us? You know?
Right.
And I resent that, and I'm saying it out loud. I really resent that. But my second question is, has Steve Cashman started the pool study yet?
He has been given direction to start it. I actually followed up with him today. He's in process of getting that going, so.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in the swim club too. This is twice now that they've done this same thing to us. Several years ago, they sat in the high school auditorium. A number of us was there. They said they were going to save the school, the swimming pool for us, and then nothing ever happened. They went right back to their low hourly rate. Now, here a few months ago, they said the exact same thing to us. Oh, we'll do a flat fee. We'll come up with extra money. We'll do everything to help you. And now they want to go back to their hourly rate, which is a pretty reasonable rate. And, you know, we're still left holding the bag. So, I mean, I'm with you. I'd like to know when that study's going to be done. I'd like to get some more information in that direction. But this is twice now that they've done this to us.
Yeah, I'd also like to say I'm disappointed because they came on full force and so excited and we're going to do this and that, and no, so it's disappointing.
This other group, Kim, that you said might be interested in renting sort of in between the hours that the Westmont Swim Club has
They
it.
actually need these are, everyone wants the same hours. They
Sure.
want the 5 to 7 a.m. and they want the 3:30 to 7 p.m. So,
But are they sort of willing to negotiate with us? I mean, I know it seems that we have some sense of an obligation to the Westmont Swim Club, but
yes.
where are we contractually with them? Are we still under contract with them?
No.
Okay, so have we started any conversations with this other group that?
I have, and I've been trying to coordinate so that they could come in and use our pool in some of those, off times. So maybe even swap a few hours with Westmont Swim Club and them.
I guess I'm just throwing it out there because I don't know what our obligation is with Westmont Swim Club, but let's pretend they're not even in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Could this other group come in? Could we develop a contract with this other group?
For 865 hours at a slightly higher rate is what you're trying to drive at, right?
That's exactly what I'm trying to drive at. I'm just.
And I don't know the exact number of hours because they do have programs and they have to farm things out to different locations. So we were kind of a filler for some of their program. So I will follow up and.
I don't necessarily want to pull the rug out from
Right, and
Westmont Swim Club, but
right.
I got to tell you, if we have an opportunity to negotiate with another group that's actually willing to, move forward on this decisively, then I think we should entertain that.
Okay.
I agree.
I would also like to see if we can, get a little bit more than 3669 out of the Westmont Swim Club. I mean, that's a really good rate, and now, they're changing the plan on us. We didn't change it on them, they're changing it on us, so, I mean, there should be something we should be able to do there to recoup some of the money.
It would be helpful to, understand a little better where they're coming from.
All right.
I mean, obviously, it's very difficult to make decisions or have opinions when you.
Yeah. And I did ask the question, and it was, well, that's kind of, they would look at that for kind of the summer programming and that we should kind of know maybe where we're headed in terms of the pool at that point. So, but I will follow up again and share the board's concerns.
If Adam would like to join us at a board meeting, that would be fine with most of us, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, really. I mean, they can speak for themselves and for their position and help us understand why the last minute change and why, and we made a lot of decisions based on
Right.
what we thought the deal was with them, and changing it in the 11th and a half hour is, I would like to know why. Beyond just because.
Right.
Okay.
So I imagine we'll be seeing some more details on this maybe at the next
And
meeting.
there will be no approval of a swim contract this evening, so.
All right, and so that action item, approval of the swim contract, is removed from the agenda. And the next item then is the superintendent's report.
First, included in my report, just with we opened school, was it this week or last?
It was last week,
week.
Wednesday.
Well, it starts to blend together.
All a blur.
But we did have just an excellent opening in terms of staff morale, a lot of energy in the district when the teachers came back, and now with the students back, it's really been an excellent start to the school year, and even with transportation, a couple of minor little hiccups, but for the most part, it's been an excellent start. The other thing that I have included to bring your attention to, looking at the class sizes at the elementary level, just make the board aware of 3 sections that we're kind of watching. Kindergarten at Manning, the guidelines that the board approved when we start seeing 23 per section. We talked about addressing that, either splitting into another section, or we can always hire, in the past, we've also hired a certified teacher as a teacher assistant to kind of help to reduce those numbers. Third grade at Manning, again, is approaching 28 per section, and then at Miller, 25. We're approaching 28 again for that section. So just bring that attention to the board. One of the conversations we had about kindergarten, possibly also another option would be capping the all-day at Manning, and then either allowing parents to select the half-day or the all-day option at Miller to kind of help offset that if we continue to see numbers come in. And then, again, looking for direction from the board with the other sections as they approach those numbers. In both buildings, it is possible to add another section, if need be, or we can look at the certified teaching assistant solution. So it's kind of looking for direction from the board as to how you would like to see us address those as if we continue to see. And right now, what we're starting to see is it's definitely a stop. But those first couple of days, we're seeing again new families to the district who were enrolling, and they seem to be targeting the same grade levels.
And you think these are reflective of current?
Meaning, was this first day, or is this like third day?
This was as of Friday. I asked for the numbers on Friday, so this was as of Friday where our numbers were at, and we haven't seen any change since Friday in these grade levels.
Well, I would be just looking at this, just kind of watchful waiting, I guess, to see where things go. And I think also, once the teachers, have a good understanding of the diversity of students that they have and the needs that are within their classroom, and then that would maybe influence a decision to split if there was a drastic or defined need there, or to add certified teaching staff as instructional aides like we have done in the past. I think that is also an option, but certainly keep an eye on this.
And then the last item I have is we started doing this, I think this is our third year, but giving the board calendar so that you can kind of monitor each month some of the things, those cyclical things that we need to watch for. The one thing I did add, in May, we had a discussion about student recognition and possibly looking at that and maybe expanding the opportunities to recognize students. And so if you look at the calendar that's been submitted, typically in January is when we do our first part of the year recognition. So in December, we'll have a discussion with the board of how you would like to handle that. And then in April, again, it will be on the calendar. It'll be part of the board discussion to take a look at May recognition. So that keeps that kind of in our tickler file so that we know to have those discussions. And that's all I have.
All right, very good. Next item is board reports. Does anyone have anything they'd like to comment or share?
I just have a quick comment to make. It's just starting, the new school year. I've seen a lot of positive energy already around all the buildings. I've seen the things on social media. I've talked to some parents and some students, and all I've heard is very good things coming out of the schools. It's great to hear that the students are happy to be back, so that's a good thing. Second thing, I know our board president isn't here tonight, so we're going to wish her a happy pre-birthday. It's tomorrow.
Very good.
Just real quick, I'm not aware of the transportation that Kenny was running into, but I do want to say in some cases, certainly right in front of my house, that bus has been right on time every day, sometimes a little bit early and waiting for the right moment. So I know that's been a challenge in the past, and I was happy to see that. So, and by the way, I should also say, I saw them doing the route a couple days before school started also. Good to see the drivers learning the routes.
That's good to hear, Matt.
All right, and then I will add, if you haven't taken a look, there is really a very wonderful letter in the communications and the board packet this week from a family of an early childhood student, just expressing their gratitude for the early childhood program at South and how it really has met the needs of their individual student, and it's really wonderful to hear that, because those are the things that we envisioned happening when we started the early childhood program at South. And so it's nice to get that kind of feedback from parents. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you take a look at that. Okay, we don't see. Anything else? Okay, so I guess we are ready to move to closed session. And the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining, personnel issues, student discipline, and probable litigation.
So moved.
Second?
Can we have a roll call, please, Mrs. McMahon?
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes. No vote afterwards?
No action. No action
action
items after
after.
closed.